For Makeover Monday, week 31 of 2019, I've challenged everybody in the Tableau community to remake one of my earliest dashboards. So this was actually dashboard number 13 that I published up to Tableau Public. And let's take a quick look at it, and I'll give you some of the feedback that I have for it. Maybe you'll find it helpful. The first thing that sticks out to me is the red-green. So you shouldn't be combining red-green because of color blindness. Also, there's no natural midpoint to this data. So if you're going to use red, that means bad. Green means good. But there's no indication in the data set of if there's a point where it's good or bad. The map down the bottom is a bit confusing. So it looks like the infection rate is 466, so I would want to make sure these are aggregated properly. What does the size of the bubbles mean? So it looks like there's some double encoding going on. And then the map and the bar chart actually represent the same data, so I would probably pick one or the other. And this chart in the middle here, the change in infection rate, that's basically just a year-over-year change, so maybe a line chart would be better than that. But that line chart is actually represented as this spark line on the upper right. And the infection rate is actually represented by this other spark line. So I don't think either one of those are particularly helpful. And there's a bit of filtering here, which is nice. But I also allow the user to filter by clicking on either a state or a bar or something. So these filters become redundant as far as the state is concerned. You can also filter by disease if you want. So let's get out of that. So the idea was to make that data over. And when I created the new data set, the original only goes through 2008, but I was able to find newer data that went through 2014. So a question came up on Twitter on which version this was built in. And this was built in November of 2010, which means that it had to be version 6. And that's right around the time. So Tableau Public came out about a week before I published this one. So if I look over at version 6 and some of the features, so if I click on this link to see more features, it actually doesn't go anywhere anymore, so that's not really working. But there's a few really interesting things here. So the first thing is this is when the Tableau data extracts came out. So before this version, I don't believe you could do extracts. This is also when data blending came into effect. And then the other big thing was when they mean richer analytics, what they mean there is parameters and being able to use parameters to allow more user control. So I thought what I'd do for this week is actually rebuild my viz in, let's try to do the makeover in version 6. And I can point out some things along the way that are different. So let me go ahead and switch over to, go ahead and start up Tableau 6. And let me flip back while that's loading. Let me flip back. This is the data set we're looking at this week. So it has the disease, the code I'm probably going to ignore, state, year, gender, age, and there's an age code. I would probably use one or the other of those. Number of cases, population, and then the rate. Notice the rate is calculated at a row level here. So we'll want to do something about that. Okay, so I'm going to continue my trial. It looks like maybe I opened something up before. So the first thing you'll notice is a very different connection window or launch screen. Very few data sources to connect to. There's no Tableau server data sources to connect to. Well, it looks like maybe there is, but the whole connection experience is quite different. You just choose connect to data and it'll bring up a new screen. And obviously this looks quite different as well. So this is the entire list of data sources that Tableau connected to back then. These are all saved data sources that are on my computer, but a lot of these are built in a newer version, so those won't work. And then you can import one from Tableau server, so I guess you can. But I'm going to go to create new connection. This is a text file, so I'll hit next. And I'm going to browse for that file. So I believe it's, let me see, Makeover Monday. Data 2019 STD cases. Okay, there we go. And I'm just going to rename it as STD cases. So it's not too awful different. One thing you can't do though is you can't connect to multiple data sources that are not in the same folder. So I'll get back to that in a minute. So let's hit OK. Okay, you see it's nice and slow. So while it's doing that, I'm going to bring up another file that I'm looking for. So this is going to be on my desktop. No, it's not on my desktop. So I want to do hex bin template. And oops, hex bin template. Okay, so I want this as a CSV. I'm going to stick this in the same folder that I was looking at before, so maybe we can do a join to this in case I want to create a map. So that's my 2019. Okay, let's post that in there. Great. Okay. So you couldn't do the reason I want to do that is you can't do cross data source joins in like I can't connect the CSV to an Excel or anything like that. So I need to make sure they're both in the same format. All right, so I'm going to go ahead. So connect live means, just connect to this sheet. Import all data is, that'd be an extract, and then import some data would be a filtered extract. So I'm just going to connect live for now. And you'll see the year field down here on the lower right. This has been read in as a measure, which makes sense, and so as disease code. That's because both of them are Tableau's reading those in as numbers. So what I want to do then is I want to convert those both to dimensions. Now in Tableau that we use now, we're used to just dragging them up. Okay, that did work. And then let's take year and drag that up. And now they're both discrete. They're both dimensions, and I want year to be a continuous. So let's do that. Okay, great. Now this disease code field, if I drop it in here, you'll see it's just these numbers, which I really don't know what those mean. So I'm going to go ahead and hide that field because I don't need that. And then if I look at my ages and my age codes, so this is kind of how I approach. I start looking at each of these data sources or each of these fields separately. So it looks like the age code the field age code is better, and it looks like the nulls and 99s I probably can exclude. So we'll get to that in a bit. So what I want to do then is I'm going to go ahead and hide the age field. Actually, let me rename it. So I'm going to call this age not needed and hit OK. And then I'm just going to hide that. And that way I can rename this age code field as just age. Okay, so we have age, we have disease. It looks like we have some null diseases, so let's see what that looks like. So let me just put STD cases in the view. And null looks like it's nothing. Okay, so it looks like Tableau is reading in all of the blank rows at the bottom. So let me go ahead and so if I edit this data source, and I don't see how I can add a data source filter on there. So data connection, let me see, properties. So yeah, so I don't see that. Okay, so what I'm going to do then is why don't I create a set based on this? So disease, let's create a set, and we want to exclude the nulls. So I'm going to call this exclude null diseases and hit OK. I'm going to drag that to, and notice how different the sets symbol looks. I'm going to drag that to the filters, and that excludes that. And then in the newer version of Tableau, it says something like apply to all data sources or all sheets using this data source, something like that. But back in version 6, it was called Make Global, which I still like. And then let's see, now that we filtered that out, let's see what age is, if we need to do something similar for ages. So the 99 is also an unknown field, so let me go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and filter that one out as well. So I'm going to create a set, and I'm going to call this invalid ages, and check the null and the 99 and exclude those. And again, I'm just going to put that onto the onto the filters. It's not going to let me. Nice. Okay, let's see here. So let me see. There we go. I just needed a bit more room. Okay, and then I'm just going to go ahead and make that global as well. Okay, great. So we can see here the number of cases, the population, and we can also put the rate per 100,000 on here. Now, the rate per 100,000 isn't going to be correct. So how can we have, for example, in 15 to 19-year-olds, how can we have 3.9 million almost 4 million as a rate of 100,000. So that doesn't make sense. That's because if I look back at the data set, you'll see the rate per 100,000 is calculated on a row by row basis. So in other words, it is the cases divided by the population divided by 100,000. Is that 100,000? Okay, and we get 5.3, so or 5.34. So we need to recreate that calculation, but make it so that it is it works independent of the aggregation. So I want to create a calculated field. So I'm going to call this STD rate. And I'm going to do something similar. So notice in the new version of Tableau, you can just drag these fields in. Yeah, you can't do that. So I'm going to do sum. And then you can't drag the fields in, so I just need to double click on it. So I want to take the cases divided by, and I know I need brackets, so I'm going to put in there the sum of population divided by 100,000. There we go, and hit OK. And then I'm going to go ahead and set the default number format for this. So it is 2 decimals, or let's just do 1 decimal. 2 is probably overkill. And now if I put that into the view, I should get a number that makes a bit more sense. So yeah, so this is all diseases, and there we go. Great. All right, so let's see what else we can do. So that gives me a bit of a feel there. We also have, so let's do a new worksheet. So I would probably rename this something like age, and then this one I'm going to look at where, and if I just double click on state, the only areas that Tableau recognized at this point was the US states, and I should get an error message here at some point, right, because the maps that Tableau used back then no longer work. So I'm going to hit OK. So not particularly interesting, but that's basically how you would do a map. There are no filled maps, if you notice here. So there were only circles at the time. I mean, I guess you could put a square on there if you wanted to, something like that. But you know, but basically there's no filled maps as an option on here. So the states, I'm just going to call this my dot map. I don't find that particularly useful. So I think what might make a bit more sense is if we did maybe a hex map. But to do that, I need to join to that to another data source. So I have another data source that is my hex bins, and it has the state and then the column and row I need to place it in. So let's join to that data set. So I want to edit the connection, and then I want to do a multiple tables. I'm going to add a new table. Hopefully. Let's see. Hopefully Tableau doesn't crash during this demo, because that would kind of ruin it. All right. So basically what I need to do is I'm going to join on the state field and make sure I can pull in 2 additional columns for the columns and the rows. So let's wait for this to come up. I'm not quite sure why it's taking so long. And I don't want to kill it. There we go. So let's look at, so we wanted to look at, so I'm going to do a join, oh no, table, and I want to join to the, let's see, where is this field? So I just put this out there as well. Okay, minimum wage, energy usage. Okay, so let me try something different here then. So let's, let me do save a copy, or yeah, save a copy. And why don't I call this one, let me just stick it, yeah, so Makeover Monday, data, come on. Right, okay, so apparently my whole computer doesn't like the fact that I'm running Tableau 6, because everything's going slow now. So, right, so let me go back. Data 2019, and I'm going to call this my hexbin template, and I want to save this as a CSV, and save, replace. Okay, let's see if we can see that one now. Okay, so we don't see it. So I'm going to hit cancel and I'm going to try it again. So let me add a new table. Okay, so I'm not quite sure why this isn't working. So I'm going to hit cancel. I'll just do it manually in Excel. So I'm going to go to STD cases and column, row, and I'm just going to do the lookup. And we want to look up the state. And we want to look it up within our other view. Okay, and I want to bring back the third column. All right. So then I need to copy that and paste it here. But this one should be, again, it should be C2, and I want to bring back the fourth column this time. Okay, great. So copy, and then I need to go to the bottom of this. Okay, and paste. All right, and then what I want to do now is let's do copy, paste special values. Okay, good. Okay, so let me go ahead and save that. And I'm going to go ahead and close these files. My fan is really running hard on my computer right now, so hopefully we don't run into any major issues along the way. So let's go ahead and go back to single table, and let's browse for it again and see if we can bring in that refresh data. Open. Okay. And did it bring in my columns and rows? It doesn't look like it, so let me just add a new data source and see if I connect to a second one. I can then replace it. So, right. So STD cases, and hit OK. And then hopefully this one will have the data that we need in it. So let's give it a second to load. But this hopefully should give you an appreciation for what you're seeing in Tableau now. Connect live. Okay, so now we have, okay, so this still doesn't have our, right, so it still doesn't have our other data in it. That's weird. Okay, maybe I need to close out. So let me save, and I'm going to save this as, let's see, where do I want to save this? Quick access. OneDrive, Makeover Monday, 2019, and I'm going to call this STD cases, 1996 through 2014. Save. Okay, now what I'm hoping for is that if so let me go ahead and close that data source and save, and let me close Tableau. And then open it back up. Let's see if that will refresh the data source. I don't quite remember how all of this works. It's been quite a while. All right, so continue trial. And let's open up this workbook. And let's see if it's connected live, so hopefully it'll reread the data. Let's see. Okay, great. So it brought in my columns and rows. Excellent. Okay, so this is our dot map. So my columns need to be in my dimensions. My rows, that's fine. My rows need to be in my dimensions. And then both of these, let's see if I can do a control. Yep, need to be contiguous. Okay, so this dot map doesn't work. So let me do a new worksheet. And I'm going to put column in the columns, row in the rows, state onto detail. And notice the map is upside down, so I need to just flip the map. So reversed. Okay, so we're getting something that looks like the US. So we have a bunch of nulls here. So, okay, so let's go ahead and filter the non-nulls. Okay, there we go. So that looks a bit better. And I want to go ahead and I'm going to save again just to make sure. And in my marks card, let's see, I want to choose shape. And then I want to change my shape. So let me pick something like, let's pick a hexagon. Let's see here. So I have hexagons here somewhere. Where are they? Here we go. Nope, that's not it. I have too many. Custom, nope. I usually know where these are, so just bear with me for a second. It's probably under, maybe it's under miscellaneous. Nope, that just looks like Hillary Clinton. Okay, so that's not what we're looking for. Maybe I'll just leave it as circles for now. But again, Tableau's having trouble reading in the shapefile. So just need to give it a second because I'm worried it's going to crash again. So if I flip back to the original, what I'm thinking is we have these bars, which I think would be better as a line. I think I'd like to be able to compare maybe the genders and the ages at the same time, perhaps. Maybe use the map as a way to filter to a specific state. And then I'd actually like to see a comparison between the different diseases to know which one, maybe see the growth rates or perhaps something like that. So just going to wait here for it to load up. Sorry for the delay. Maybe just fast forward a few seconds and see if it comes through. You can see Tableau was quite slow back then. Let's see. Okay, maybe I need to kill it. So let me quit. Let's see what happens here. Let's see if we can kill it. Actually, I need to go actions. Where is it here? Edit. Keyboard. Send Control-Alt-Delete. So Task Manager. I'm going to kill Tableau here. Not responding. See, it's 32-bit application. So let me go ahead and close that. Okay, great. So let me start it back up. So this is a lot of the experience we used to have when we were using Tableau. You had to deal with a lot of these issues of crashes, and there was no autosave. So if you did a lot of work, you might get upset about it at some point, I guess. But I think what I'm going to do, instead of trying to use a hex map, then maybe I'll just use circles just to simplify it. So let me change this to circle. I'll just increase the size a bit, something like that for now, and then I'll just put the STD rate on color, so we can just see a continuous color range. I'm not particularly, but I don't think green is the best color for STDs, so I'm going to use maybe, let's go with orange maybe. So what we could do is put the disease maybe up here and see what they look like. So you can see it looks like gonorrhea in DC is an issue. No idea what that means. So we have chlamydia, gonorrhea, and primary, secondary syphilis. So I'm going to actually just rename this one to just syphilis and hit OK. And then I could maybe split it up by gender. Okay. Why is it only showing me males? Okay, so let's do the entire view. Interesting. Okay, so let me take that filter off and see what happens. Okay, male, fill, unknown. Okay, so let's exclude the unknown gender. And again, let's make that global. Okay, so it doesn't like the columns and rows for the females. Interesting. Okay, so let me look back at my data source here. Maybe I messed something up. So next, this is comma separated, finish. So it doesn't, it looks like, so if I just scroll down to maybe finding some females, let me go down to the bottom. Okay, so where is my, oh, I think it's, okay. Let me just put a filter up here. So it looks like maybe I messed up my data set. So let me do, how do I do that? Home, filter, oops, cancel, filter, and let me make sure I didn't lose my, oh, I lost the mails for some reason. Okay, so let me close that. Don't save. I'm going to go back to data.world and re-download the workbook. So, okay, so download. And I know I'm going to have to do this one again, so I'm just going to save and close Tableau. Not quite sure how I did that, but I did. So, all right, so let me go ahead and go to my downloads. Downloads. All right, STD cases. And then what is going on here? It looks like females are missing from the data set. So did I break the data set? I did. So there's only males in the data set. Well, let's proceed with this. So actually, let me go in here and do gender, show column info. And there is female in here, so why am I not getting the entire data set? Okay, why don't I try this? I'm going to go ahead and use Tableau Prep to get the data ready. I'm not quite sure why in my CSV it's not showing the female, so let me close that. This is turning into quite the exercise, but hopefully I can still get all of this done within an hour. I don't know how far along we are so far. Can I tell up here? No, I don't want to check. All right, so let's wait for Tableau Prep to load up. Hopefully nobody else has had this same issue when they're trying to use the data this week. I have an idea of what I want to create, so that's a head start. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and just add in my hex bins now, so I don't have to worry about it later. So let's connect to data, text file, and I want to go to my downloads, STD cases, and what I want to do now is I'm going to first just make sure that that this even has the right data. So let me add a step. Actually, I want to just add an aggregate. So let me undo that. So let's, no, I can do that. I can add a step because it should give me a preview of the data anyway. Okay, so once it loads up here, and I think the reason my computer is going so slow here is not Tableau Prep or Tableau. I think it's because I'm running parallels at the same time. So if I go to, okay, so I have my genders here, so that's good. So let me bring in another data source then. So let's bring in that other one that has the hex bins on it. So let's go to, is there recents? Yeah, let's try that. Nope. So let's go to, where did I save that? Makeover Monday, data, 2019. Expand template. Okay, great. All right, so I should be able to add this in. And then what I actually want to do is, let's make this, let's drag this up to here and join it. That's fine. I don't really need that extra step in there, but that's all right. I'm not really too worried about it. So the state, excellent, very good. And what I want to do now is look at the preview. So let's show the profile pane. Okay, so what I want to do here is I'm just going to go ahead. It's not going to let me rename. Okay, let me just add a step. It's a bit easier sometimes. Okay, so we should be able to filter out all those nulls and everything in here now too. So let's take care of that. All right, so okay, template's still thinking. So I'm just going to go ahead and filter out the stuff that I know I don't want. And I'm just waiting for it to finish. You can see, oh, great. So I need to restart. That's not good. So hopefully Tableau Prep will restart, and let's connect to data. Text file. Hexbin template, we know we need that one. And then the STD ones is coming from the other data source. So let's look at downloads, STD cases. Okay, and let's go ahead and just do the join. Come on. And it's going to join by state, which is good. So let's go ahead and add a step. Okay. So we have the fields from our first data source, the state, the abbreviation, column, and row. And then from the second data source, we have the disease. So we don't need state twice. I'm just going to go ahead and hide this one. So remove field. I know I preferred the age code. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the age. Okay. And I'm just going to rename my age code field to age. So let's just call that one age. The unknown genders I want to get rid of, so let me just exclude those. Exclude. And we had some other fields we got rid of before as well. So we had like, I think we had null state somewhere or something, don't we? So let's go to state. So that looks good. We can rename this one. So let's edit value, and let's just call it syphilis. Okay, disease code we don't need. Come on. So let's remove that field. Okay. Are we done? I believe so. So we don't have any null. Oh, we can get rid of the 99 ages. So let's remove that one. That's one of the unknown ages. Okay. We probably can get rid of the rate per 100,000 field too, because we're going to have to create that in Tableau anyway. So let's go ahead and hide this field. Let's remove that. Okay, so I think we now have everything we need. So let's put an output on here. Add an output. And I'm going to save it as a CSV. And I'm going to go browse. And I want to go to my recents. And I'm going to call this STD cases, except, yes, it's okay to replace it. Go ahead and run. And replace. All right, so hopefully that does the trick. Okay, done. All right, so let's go back to Tableau 6. So all the data prep, you know, I used to have to tend to do outside a lot of Excel data prep and things back when I first started using Tableau. We weren't spoiled with tools like Alteryx and Tableau Prep. Okay, so it should read in the new the new data that I created. We might have some errors with some of the filters we've created. Okay. So is it okay? It's not okay. There it goes. Okay, let's see where we are now. Maybe while that's loading, I'm going to look in my Tableau repository, shapes, and I want to look for, is it icons? Some icons, hexagon, there we go. So under icons, great. Okay, so let's let this load up. Okay, so you can see we have some invalid fields now. That's fine, so let me just go ahead and clear the sheet. And I want to go ahead and delete that field. So let's delete the disease field, delete the state field. Okay, we can delete the rate per 100K. My two sets I can now delete because I've already filtered that data ahead of time. Okay, so right, so I think we were trying to build the hex map. So let's do columns and rows. And we want to put this date abbreviation onto the label. Let's see what that does. Okay, I want to reverse that to make it look more like the states. And save. I used to save a lot along the way. I want my label to be in the middle. Okay, and then let's see if I can now change my shape. So more shapes, and I had it under the icons folder. So icons. And this is where it crashed last time because it was trying to load up the icon. So I hope I didn't mess it up again. Let's just give it a second. I want to create a hex map, but I may end up just with a circle map, I have a feeling. So let's see what it does. Come on. Hopefully this isn't too boring to watch, but I find it quite fun to go back to old versions and look at the features. So things like level of detail expressions weren't in here. There's no area charts. There's no filled maps. Dashboards were just new at this point. Tableau Public had just come out. The standard colors were red and green for the first diverging fields. Now they're orange and blue. The calculation window is different. A lot of the windows are quite different. I really like now how you can just drag fields into the calculations to make sure you're aggregating everything together. You'll also notice over on the left-hand side here that the colors are much brighter. So like the ABCs next to abbreviation, the pound signs, it's much more obvious. I think it was more obvious back then than it is now, but Tableau intentionally uses softer colors now. So I understand why they did it. But we now have a frozen window again. So maybe I should kill it one more time. And let's see. So it doesn't look like, it doesn't appear that it likes to read other folders. So what I'll do is just kill it and just stick with circles. So let's kill it. Okay, that's fine. So let's try one more time. And I'm running out of time here, so I better build something quick. Right, so let's open that up again, continue my trial. Come on. Is it going to open? Okay, there it goes. So yeah, I think I'll just stick with circles for now. Okay, so let me just recenter the text and make these circles. Let's make them a bit bigger. And let's just put the rate onto color. Okay, and I don't think I can set default field properties. Yeah, so I can't even set the default color for measures. So let's go with, let's say orange. Orange seems like a bad color. Okay, and there we go. And I think what I was looking at before was the disease and I just want to double check that everything is still there versus the gender. And hopefully we get, okay, good. Okay, so we're in a little bit better shape now. So you can see that the rates of chlamydia are much higher in females than other diseases are in other parts of the country. So, you know, this is one viz you could create. So I might call this one where. And I want to do new worksheet. And because I have time series data, I'm going to just start looking at the when. So let me just call this one when. And maybe I'm going to always look at the rate, I think, for this data set. But I could put the cases and the population on the detail shelf. And one of the things you'll notice is there's no way to customize tooltips. So these were kind of what you see is what you get. So there was no option back then. What I do want to do is go ahead and label the min and the max. And I want to do it for each line. I want to label it the min and the max of the year. But the field I want to label is the rate. So let me put the rate on label. Okay, there we go. I like the little circles on the ends of the lines. Now you also don't have a way to color the text on the label shelf either. I don't think so. Let's see, I need to switch this back to all and then click on the label shelf again. Yeah, oh wait, we can. But I can't tell it to match the mark label. So let me just reset this. There we go. All right, so maybe I want to compare the different diseases. So I'm going to put disease onto the color shelf. And we get the 3 different kinds. So syphilis has a pretty low rate over time. Gonorrhea looks like it's gone down a bit. And chlamydia has a pretty huge increase. So if we look at, again, I would probably look at this by gender. And we haven't looked at age yet. So where is my age field? Oh, I lost my age field. So let's edit this connection. And I lost my ages somewhere along the way. Let's see, so what if I do show hidden fields? Let's unhide that one and then rename it to age. That was one I'd hidden before, so let me put that up here. Okay, there we go, so save. Now, fortunately, STD rates are low in 0 to 14-year-olds. So that's a good sign. But we could see 20 to 20, the blue lines are really sticking out to me here. Now the gender, maybe I'll take the gender off for now because that seems a bit, oh, let's leave it. So what I might do now is instead of, I'm going to actually label just the ends of the line, just the maximum of the line. And what I want to do now is maybe I want to use a parameter to highlight the particular STD I'm interested in. So I'm going to create a parameter based on my disease field. And I'm going to say select, so highlight a disease, and hit OK. And now I want to create a calculated field. So I'm going to call this one highlighted disease. And I can't drag the fields in, so I just need to say disease equals, and just double click. That's going to give me a Boolean. So I want to move disease to the level of detail and then put the highlighter on color. Okay, and let's go ahead and show the parameter. And when we flip through, it should work okay. So chlamydia, gonorrhea, there we go. So the lines are changing, that's good. I want to change my default sort. So let's change my default sort for the diseases. I want to do it descending, so my trues are always in the front. And then I would also change my default colors. So disease, field properties, color. Actually, let me save first. And make sure everything, okay, so let's go to disease, field properties, color. And I'm going to make the trues red. So let's make that red, and maybe I'll make the falses, you know, like a light gray or something like that. So that one stands out. Okay, there we go. But maybe I'll look at this as a rate of change. So I'm going to add a table calc. You can see this window looks pretty different. So we want to do a % difference from the first year. So let's choose the first year and hit OK. and we should see the shape. Yeah, okay, so now we've got actually quite a different story. So we can see some of the rates are quite different between males and females. Some of the rates are higher for males. I'm going to make the males first because it looks like the numbers are all higher for males. Okay, I'm going to hide the header for the age. Great. All right. Now, I only want to show the label for the red line, so I need to create a calculated field. And I want to say rate for highlighted. And I want to say if it's the highlighted disease, then give me, I'm going to have to recreate the calculation in here. So I want to return the STD cases end. And we'll wrap that in a sum. And I want to divide that by the sum of the, I need to put a second bracket around this. I want to do the sum of the population divided by 100,000. Okay, oh, bracket's the wrong direction. And okay, found string. Right, if, so let's say equals true, and okay, so can't compare string and Boolean values, right? So, okay, why don't I just say, oh, I used the wrong field here, so I used the wrong field, so let's call this highlighted disease. There we go. Okay. So what I want to do now is I want to move my STD rate from the text down to the level of detail. So I still have it in my tooltip, but I want to put the rate for the highlighted onto the label shelf. And I'm going to change the default properties number format. And I want to do a number 1 decimal. Okay. There we go. But I want this to also be a quick table calc. So add table calc, percent difference from year first. Okay. And now I should see, yeah, so I see the same number. That's good. So if I look here, you'll see it says 205,000 for my percent difference in STD rate and also for the rate of my highlighted. But I don't need them both in the tooltip, so I'm going to go ahead and uncheck the include in tooltip here, which I never knew was a feature back then. I wish I did. All right, so we're starting to have a viz. So because I only have one color here, maybe I can go ahead and, so this is annoying because it doesn't show up in my window. So let me go ahead and change the font to red and then switch the label back to min-max. Okay, there we go. Okay, there we go, excellent. All right, so that's better. So, and then I also want to, I think I want to align the label. Oh, this is annoying. So I need to go back to all again. And my alignment, I want it to be to the right and the middle. And I'll fix the alignment of that in a minute. So min-max. Okay, so, right. So now what I need to do is I need to add in a bit of buffer here. So I'm gonna hit OK. And let's add in, oh, let me just hard code it, it's fine. This doesn't really need to, so let's double click on this again. So let's start it at 1994, so we have a bit of room there. And let's maybe make it 2024. And I just want to see if I can get enough room for my labels. Okay, so my labels are still not lining up right for some reason. So let me try that again. Middle, right. Okay, I don't know what's going on. So maybe I'll just leave it. I'll put it back. Okay, good enough. So I'm going to go ahead and rotate the labels for my males and females. Hide those. Hide the age. And let's hide field labels for rows. Okay. Right, so we're a bit better now. So we have something. So I'm going to save. Now this is looking at the total US rate now. And on our where, we have, let's maybe make this red because we're using red for the other view. So let's switch this back to red. All right, and hit OK. And I'm just going to make this a single, I'm going to take disease and, okay. And now I need to clean this one up as well. So format, I want to get rid of, so I want to get rid of my column dividers, get rid of my row dividers. I want to get rid of my grid 0 lines. There's no grid lines. Okay, great. So now I can go ahead and hide the header. Hide the header. I don't need these in the tooltips. So let's see, I just want this to say Alaska and the STD rate, right? Okay, good. Okay, so let me rename this one as state abbreviation, or state, yeah, that's fine. Okay, not the best tooltips in the world, but it'll do for now. So now we have our when. And now maybe I'll do, let's just look real quickly at, let's just look at the ages and the, let's do it as a, almost like a histogram. So the rate. Okay, so hide that. And yeah, so I think that's okay. So let's color that red. So that gives us our, so this is our STD rates by age. Okay, and so we could go ahead and show mark labels, and let's make those red to match. Okay, and maybe I'll make them bold as well. Okay, great. So now that I have that, I'm going to save. Don't forget to save. And what I'm going to do here is, do I want to, oh good, I can do copy formatting and paste formatting. And let's see how much that cleans up for me. Oh, I got rid of my color, that's fine. And then I want the label to be red as well. So, and let's set the font to bold red. Okay, looks a bit fuzzy on my screen, but that's okay. So now I want to go ahead and uncheck show header. So now we have those individual ages. We also have tick marks down here, so let me get rid of those as well. So axis ticks none. Okay, excellent. All right, so that's our STD by ages. That's our STD rates by ages. Let's duplicate this, and let's maybe look at it by disease. Or actually, let's go with gender first. And let's maybe rotate this so it looks a bit easier to read. Okay, so that's fine. Right, so let's call this STD rate by gender. I don't know if I'm going to use all of these in my dashboard, but maybe I will. Actually, let's just make these big numbers. So let's take that and put it on label. Okay, move the gender to there. Now you can't have multiple fields on the text shelf, so right. So let's change the text middle. And can I format this? Let's see. So format. Can I make it a nice big number? So let's say 22. Okay, let's say maybe 28. Okay, so that would be my STD rates for. So notice I can't put multiple fields on the text shelf, so I'm going to have to format it like this. And yeah, I'll fix the headers and stuff when we get up there. So STD rates by age. I like the histogram for that one, and again, I'm going to save. And then maybe lastly, I'll do by disease. So let's start with this one. Oops, I'm going to duplicate it. Or no, let's just do it. Let's do big numbers again for this one. So duplicate sheet, and then instead of gender here, I want to have disease. Okay. Okay, and then we could sort this as well. So sort descending by STD rate. Probably should do that here as well. So sort descending by STD rate. Okay, now the ages we want to leave like that. Save again. Okay, so now I have, so this would be STD rate by disease. And we have our years. So, okay, so let's say that's enough for now. And let's go ahead and build a new dashboard. So you notice Tableau automatically fits it, it automatically sets it to automatic. So if you look down here on the bottom left, the size is set to automatic. Now I usually do 900 by 600, so I'm going to choose exactly 900. Let me do 900 by 700. Let me try that. Hit OK. All right, so that's a bit better. So let's go ahead. Actually, let me make it 600 so that it can fit on my screen. Let's see what that does. OK, that's better. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and put my title in the view. So STD rates in America, 1996 through 2014. All right, and let's see. So this is a container. See, containers were orange back then. So what do we want to start with as our focus? So I know I like the when chart. So let's put that in here. Okay, I can get rid of this. All right, notice how the headers have this nice gray shading on them as well, so that's pretty cool. And then let's hide the header for that. And maybe I could change this to say, instead of when, it could say, how have STD rates changed since 1996? Let's just start with that for now. All right, we're already a pretty crowded view, so I'm not sure I'm actually going to be able to fit that much. So the rates by age, I wonder if I put that here, what will that look like? Yeah, that doesn't look very good. So maybe I'll do some kind of summary across the top. So let me put a container in here, put that there, and then maybe I'll put the big numbers next to it. So we have gender, maybe I put disease underneath of that one. So let's put can I put a vertical container inside here? Ooh, maybe. So let's put by disease here. And then let's drop this one into there. Okay, so let's fit to entire view. And this one fit to entire view. Okay, and now I'm going to move this over a bit so we can see the rates. Okay, still need to move it over some more. All right, so there we go. Something like that. Right. Okay, good enough. I still don't love this dashboard. I'm probably going to end up, maybe I should make it a bit bigger. Yeah, so what I actually could do is, instead of this having it be a highlight, I could have this be a filter as well. So I could filter, yeah, the three views. So let me change the title of this. I'm going to call this Select a Disease. And okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back to my when. I'm going to add another option into here. I'm going to call this one all. And then move that up. Okay, so all right, so now if I pick all from this list, they should all go gray. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so let's right. So now if I go to my rates by age, I can go ahead and say, so let's see, or highlighted disease equals all. And hit OK. And now if I put that in, so let me go ahead and show this again. So I'm going to keep an eye on the 792.4 and put highlighted disease on here. And I'm going to pick true. All right, so now if I switch it back to all, I should get back to my 792.4. There we go, good. So I need to do the same thing here. So highlighted disease, it's true. And then highlighted disease is true. All right, so let's see what we got now. And then the where, let's do it on the map as well. We actually haven't used the map yet. So on that. Okay. All right, so let me rotate these labels. All right, so we're getting a bit closer. So now if I pick, yeah, I don't love this down here. So let me go here and let me duplicate this one. So I'm going to say, yeah, that's fine. I want to get rid of this part. I don't like how these are all being highlighted here. So I want to put highlight disease copy on here. And yeah, so this field, my rate for highlighted should be highlighted disease copy. Okay, that's fine. Now none of them should be labeled. All right, so if I pick a disease, and I need to again swap these around and change the colors. So I want the true to be red and the false to be gray. Okay, there we go. All right, so save again. So the last thing is I need to decide if I want to incorporate in the map. So one option then would be to possibly move these big numbers to be down on the right-hand side since I have some space below the disease. So let's actually see what that does instead. So let me take this container. I'm going to move it in here. And then this sheet, I want to go ahead and swap the rows and columns. And then this one, let's go ahead and swap the rows and columns. And let's see, so we can move this one up. Let's kind of drag that over a bit. And then this one, so what's wrong with this sheet by disease? Oh, it's only one disease, that's fine. So if I switch this to, let's just make this one fit width. And yeah, so we can maybe take this whole thing and move it over a bit so we can see these a bit better. Okay, and then if I drag this and I make it the same size, okay, that's about the same. Okay, so now if I make this one, so let me change this to all so I can see all the diseases. Actually, I don't think I like the idea of this disease being filtered. So let's go ahead and make these bigger. Right, okay, so there we go. Okay, yeah, I don't love this. I don't really like this at all, actually. So maybe I'll just, let me stick the map in here and see what it looks like. So I could call this one, which states have the highest rate. I probably should call this STD rate. Right, all right, so, okay. So let's see here. Let's move this over a bit so we can see the whole title. Okay, my circles I can probably make a tad bigger now, which is good. So size, let's drag that up a bit. So this is when you just have to kind of keep moving back and forth to see, ooh, that's not very good. So let's go back to, where is it? Where? And let's drag that down just a bit. So you have to sort of play around with the size until you get it just right. So just a fraction more. That's fine. I feel like Bob Ross doing this. Okay, good. All right, excellent. So let's save. It looks like Alaska and Hawaii are being cut off for some reason. So let's go back to that sheet. And let's show the header here and maybe adjust adjust this a bit. So let's see, so what's the value here? So we don't know that. So let's set this to, let's set it to manually minus 0.5, and let's set this to 12.5. Now everything should show a bit better, so let's hide the header. Go back to my dashboard. Oh, come on, don't crash. Okay, save. Okay, that's a bit better. So, right, so I definitely don't like these. So I think I'm going to just go ahead and kill the STD rate by disease. I don't like that at all. I think I can get rid of the color legend, and then maybe the STD rate. I'm going to flip that back around. And I need to reorganize this a bit, so I'm going to try putting another vertical container into here. Let's move that into the vertical container. Okay, let's try it this way. What I'm thinking is I can put my big numbers below. Okay. All right, so maybe that's a bit better. Perhaps I should make this text a bit smaller then. How did I do that? So format. And let's maybe make this, instead of 28, let's maybe make it, 20. Good enough. All right. And then go back to my dashboard. Okay, that looks better. Okay. So I'm going to call this STD rate per. Maybe I'll say, how do the genders compare? Or which genders have a higher rate? Which gender has a higher STD rate? Okay. All right. At what age are STDs more prevalent? I need to spell check that. So okay, I always spell it so with an A. All right. Prevalent. All right. So again, just putting titles, questions in my titles. And then maybe in my, up here, I can put my selected disease next to my title. So let's put a vertical container here. Let's move my title into that container. And let's put this into that container as well. Oops. There we go. All right, so I can scoot that over. Let's cinch this up a bit. And then my title, I'm just going to left align. Maybe make it a bit bigger. Let's set it to maybe 24. Okay, and now I'm going to save again, and I'm going to double check. So Tableau Public supported fonts. In case I don't want to use Arial, let's see what else we have. So Calibri. More items. Let's see. I don't know what Noto is. Right. So Arial. Oh, Roboto is supported. I like Roboto. Let's switch to that. So there's no global font replace. So where's Roboto? Oh, it's not on my Windows part of my computer. So right. So let me switch back over here. Times New Roman Trebuchet. Let's try that. No, I don't like that one either. Mario UI. Never heard of that one. Nope, don't have that one. Nato. Okay, don't have that one either. Poppins. Never heard of some of these fonts. Poppins, nope. Okay, Tableau. Georgia. Okay, let me try Georgia and Calibri. So Calibri, that's not too bad. And then Georgia. Okay, I don't like Georgia. So let's go with, oh, screw it. Let's just leave it at Arial. It's fine. Okay, so now if I pick a disease, we should have, hopefully, a bit of a better layout here. Oh, I should have saved. Hopefully it doesn't crash. So in Tableau 6, it would execute one query at a time across the views. So let's save. And in my map, notice how some of the state labels aren't appearing, so I need to fix that. So let's go to my labels, and I do have, yes, so let's allow overlap. And let's maybe make this font a bit smaller. Let's make this like 7 point. Go back to my dashboard. I think I need to make the whole thing a bit taller because everything feels pretty squished. So let's make it maybe 800 by 700. Okay, there we go. So that looks better at the top. My line charts look a bit better. I don't think I can fix the, yeah, so I can't fix the size on that. So I think I want to make it still a bit taller so my line charts look a bit better. So let's do 800 by 800. Okay, so now all I need to do is I need to just drag this up and just do a bit of manual resizing. So let's bring that up. I just need to make sure my map doesn't get distorted too badly. Okay, that's good. Okay, so let's go ahead and save again. And I'm going to go ahead and show my caption here. And I'm going to call this Makeover Monday, week 31, 2019. And let's go ahead and go to here and put that in there. And data source is the CDC, created by Andy Right, now I'm going to center align that, make it a lighter gray because that's not really that important that people see it. And let's make it 7 point. And okay. Okay, great. So now I have my font in there as well. All right, so I think that's about it. Yeah, so I can add some interactivity on here. I forgot about that. So let's add a use as filter actions. This is how you used to have to do actions. And so if I go ahead and click on DC, for example, it should update the rest of the views. Okay, good. Right, so let's get off of that. Okay, click off. And let's put our genders on here. Let's add one on our gender as well. So use as filter. Okay, and now if I click on female, it should update the bottom chart to just the females. The map should update. Yeah, there we go. Okay, great. So I'm all set. Okay, so I probably should indicate somewhere. So let me filter. So click on a state or gender to filter. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make that a nice small font. So let's maybe make that 9 point, italics, and make it a lighter gray. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, so I need to bring this down a bit so we can see that. Okay, so you can see there's some issues here. So right, some of this text is getting cut off. So before I upload this to Tableau Public, I'm probably going to have to open it in the more recent version of Tableau. Let's try it. Let's just see what it looks like. Let me hit save. All right, so I'm going to call this Makeover Monday 2019, week 31. Okay, and then save. And I don't believe, yeah, so there was no way to, so you have the show film strip option, which is what we're kind of used to now, but there's no way to hide sheets, so that was another issue as well. So let's go ahead and see if we can publish this to Tableau Public. So publish workbook, and right, so there's no Tableau server login. So I thought there was a way to, oh yeah, Tableau Public right here. Okay, so what I need to do is first I need to create an extract. So let's export. No, not export. We want to do edit, and then I want to, how the heck do I create an extract here? So data connection, or extract data, here we go. And extract. And let's see, so let's go data 2019, STD cases as a TDE. Okay, there's also a couple sheets I don't need here. Let's just give it a second to create the extract so you see how slow it is. This is a very small data set, and it's taken, you know, however long now to import the data. So there's 35,000 rows. It's taken, you know, so we're over 30 seconds already. Okay, so let me save again now that we have our extract. And I'm going to delete this sheet because I don't need that one. Yep. I want to delete my dot map. That's fine. So delete that. All right, and I think I'm using, let's see, I'm not using STD rate by disease, so let's delete that. Delete. Okay, so there we go. All right, so save. And right, so let me fix this. So you see some of these numbers are, the alignment looks a bit weird. So I think I'm going to need to just let Tableau decide where to align everything. So let me switch back to all again, and then alignment, let's do automatic, and then min-max. Okay, there we go. So now Tableau should kind of render it in the right spot where you can, well, it looked like it tried to. So let's save. Maybe if let me try adding that buffer in again. So let's make this like 2030 just for the hell of it and see what happens. Okay, so that gives us room on the ends of the line. So maybe I can now fix this to let's switch the labels back again. And let's go back here, labels, right, middle, and then switch it back to min-max. But see, it's not, see how it's not putting some of the labels on the middle? That's like super, super annoying. So let's do vertical is automatic, middle. Yeah, so it doesn't look like it's really actually moving any of the labels. So that's a bit frustrating. Okay, so, and I'm going to just go ahead and uncheck hide header. We don't really need that on there. Although now it looks kind of, doesn't look too great. So let's go ahead and reset this. Come on. Edit axis, and let's just set it back to automatic. Okay, that's fine. All right, so I think that's good enough. Let's save, and let me try publishing this up to Tableau Public. So Tableau Public, save to web, and let's see if this even works. Can't connect to, okay, so right, so I'm going to have to publish this up through Tableau, a newer version of Tableau. But hopefully you found this useful. It was a fun exercise for me to kind of do a little bit of a flashback here to an older version of Tableau, and hopefully it gave you a bit of perspective on how things used to be. Right, so that's it. Have a great day.